He's going to try and paint us a picture of victory for the Shopify Rebellion. From the Netherlands, it is Harstem.
In the upper left, trying to be one of those impressionist masters, or at least to impress us from the Platinum Heroes, he's ArT.
And we kind of talked about this a little bit in the beginnings, the before times. This is an important matchup for our boy Harstem. ArT, he's in a tough spot already. Let's be real. It's going to be a challenge for him to try and make anything happen in this group. But Harstem, he still has an outside shot, but he is going to need basically a 2-0 here to give himself really even a fighting chance of making it out. And he was watching that last series with bated breath. Him seeing Gung Fu Banda winning that one, that does take a lot of the wind out of his sails. He was really hoping for a Night Phoenix victory there. But for now, he just needs to focus on his own matchups. And, well, this is one of those matchups. Already, ArT, though, Proxy Pylon.
Yeah, I don't think this Pylon's going to do anything, though. As the probe runs away, this is the series Pylon. This is the series Schrodinger Pylon, where you go as a Protoss player, and you go and you proxy something, and you proxy Pylon on the map, and Harstem scouts that, A, there's a proxy, although actually it looks like Harstem might just find this on top of anything else. But no, he's not going to see it, not quite yet. So Harstem goes and maybe sees a lacking... Oh, no, he checks the spot. Okay, so Harstem sees it. But then you go and you say, okay, well, my opponent has a proclivity for putting a Pylon on the map. So then when you scout it in game 2, you maybe think it's just the Schrodinger Pylon, there's nothing there, it's fine. And then when there's a proxy, it is ArT prepping his opponent for shenanigans in game 2 or game 3, if that happens. Now, I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but for now, it's going to be Depths on the way. Stargate behind this, that's a lot of probe pressure in the early game.
Well, I agree with you. There's definitely the chance that it's a setup, but I actually think he did intend to use this as a proxy Stargate. Based on the probe movement, I think he was going to move it back in, but Harstem scouted it, and it kind of threw everything for a loop. Now, Harstem has been tinkering around with a relatively new build in PvP, has been going for the double gate. Oh, it's going to have to close the door. We'll get this wall in. Oh, we are. Oh, hello, ArT. That was questionable.
Oh, the body block
now
too.
He's going to get body blocked. Oh, man. He's going to lose at least one of these Adepts. And look at this. Harstem says, you know what? I may as well add the Sentry DPS. You can't kill it. I am just going to put in a little bit of extra damage there. But yeah, very nice start there for Harstem. Bit of a blunder from ArT, to be honest. He will have to get something done with this Oracle, but it gets scouted by the hallucination. We'll see if Harstem saw it. Looks like he did, based on the fact that he's moving his units back in and also chrono boosting the warp gate to get out the quicker warp in. Good job already from Harstem deflecting this first Oracle. But yeah, Harstem has been going for a double gate opener into a much quicker expansion with cutting the second gateway unit and going for the Nexus. It's really getting him some nice leads in the early game. And look at this, he's already up 4 probes.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate from what we saw from ArT with the Oracle out on the map, and actually second Oracle right now, so Shield Battery not as useful. One of my favorite techs in the early game, one of the strategies, is when you just have those Adepts, so you shade them in, and then you force the wall to go down, so the Stalkers, they're all walled off in the natural, then the Oracle dives in the main base, which is what I kind of thought ArT was looking for, but then he just moves with the Adepts out too early, and now, yes, technically there are 2 Oracles on the map, and yes, technically you can punch through a Shield Battery steadfast, but they're just not finding an opening. So as you said, Harstem, his Nexus is done. He's building double probes out of it. He's already up 5 workers as that probe goes on the map. Hey, you know what? Look, ArT found a worker. Good job, ArT. But the Oracles want more than that.
They certainly do. Now, what they also do, they want damage. Oh, got to be careful with those Oracles. Does kind of take a tiny bit of hull damage. Takes 9 shots to 1 shot on Oracle with those Stalkers, but obviously, you know, you don't want to really take any hull damage because then that number of shots required does drop. Ooh, ArT, he's really getting slapdash, and there is that damage really coming in big handy for Harstem, but that is a huge pickup. I was just going to mention, with double Oracle, you actually can't move out onto the map. Even with the shield batteries, you have to stay at home and you know, cover your mineral lines, or you'll just get gutted, and then you're completely all in. With the loss of that Oracle, that is no longer a factor.
Steadfast, it's almost like you were telling the future with that Oracle.
Almost. Almost a little bit of future sight. We are going to be seeing, by the way, a third gate being built from ArT some time ago, and he's intending to put pressure on this third base. But, I mean, Harstem's going to have his blink even a little bit faster than that of ArT. He does need to be a little bit careful, and there's no shield battery in the main mineral line, so he does need to keep some stalkers kind of poised. I like this positioning, though. He's got them ready to jump to the low ground. And no shield battery at the third. Yeah, this is a little scary.
Yeah, or I should say, stasis trap, because ArT's trying to bait him into that. One Stalker's Blink onto the low ground here, but the concave from Harstem is just really nice. Harstem, does he see? Oh, it seems like he's gonna be fine playing on the edge of that, playing like he knows that this is here. I say, no, he's not.
He didn't. He had no idea. Also, the Oracle did not go into the main base during all this. It actually didn't have the energy because of that stasis ward. This is a huge find right here. A lot of these Stalkers do have their blink on cooldown. ArT is just going to add the Oracle's DPS to make sure he kills that Nexus. ArT is running out of time to, like, be here with this army because these units are about to come out of stasis ward. And Harstem, okay, he is going to blink forward, gets the Oracle, and will get a decent little punish on these units. Neat move from Harstem to pull probes to try and save this. But, I mean, he was never really going to be able to save it. As it is, though, ArT gets himself a big macro lead with the pickoff.
That stasis trap was fantastic. I saw Harstem go almost to it and move back, and that you're kind of thinking there, it's like, okay, he saw it. He's got to have seen it, right? And then he doesn't. And then he loses out on, what was that, 10 Stalkers from the fight? Yeah, ArT in a great spot, but as you point out, that's a very slow robo. Luckily, it's going to be faster than the Dark Shrine completing from Harstem, so at least there should be observers on the map. But Harstem, he's up 15 army supply, and he has a lot more tech here with the sentries, with the Immortals. He lost his third base. He wants to do something similar to ArT now.
Yeah, I do think that you need to know where. Okay, he does know where his opponent's army is, and he knows where the shield battery is. Ooh, ArT actually moving 5 Stalkers to the left. That is gonna let Harstem know that he can pounce on this army now, and that observer for Harstem might have just won him the game.
Vision wins games here, absolutely. At the very least, Stalker's now zoned out of the third base. The shield battery is dead. Good force fields just make it so much harder for ArT to commit. Even though he has blink, what are you gonna do? You blink on top of things? I mean, he will, but the Immortal is proving its namesake. It is not going down. 16 probes have died. The Zealots were warped in, but they don't have charge. They're kind of useless. And ArT, he gets to Harstem's third base, but he loses the game, and the captain puts the cap back on. Game 1 goes the way of Harstem.
Toot toot goes the captain, and you said it, Vision wins games. Vision straight up won him that game. And I don't know what ArT was actually doing with those 5 Stalkers, but he had no idea that Harstem's army was literally just outside. It was like he, it's late at night, you're in a horror movie, because this only happens in horror movies, and you hear a weird noise and you're like, that's probably nothing. And then you turn your back, and just outside of the shadows, the killer sprints up behind you and kills you. It's that normal occurrence that happens all the time. That's exactly what happened to ArT right there.
Yeah, just normal Friday for me, but I'm glad you have also experienced. It's the whole going down into the dark basement, and then the lights don't turn on, and you're like, oh, this is fine.
This is fine.
It's not like there's a serial killer that's been killing everyone that fits my exact description over the last 2 weeks in my town. No.
I've got nothing to worry about.
Nothing at all. Although I guess in fairness to ArT here, Harstem was the victim of that serial killer earlier in the group when he did lose to Gung Fu Banda. So I get, if you see the serial killer supposedly dead, I guess maybe you're less scared. I don't know.
The Gung Fu Bandana killer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so actually, I love this. I don't know. It's totally irrelevant, but I don't know if you all saw the World Team League where Harstem took a game off Maru, and then his celebration was a banana gun.
Yep.
Unfortunately, he was able to kill things with his banana, but he was killed by the banana as well. So it goes.
So it goes. Once again, common tropes happening here in this in these things. Harstem, he really is just life imitating ArT. But as we get into it,
But as we get into it, as Steadfast says, in the upper right, in the red, he is for the Shopify Rebellion of 1. It is Harstem.
Putting the harm on his opponent there. And his opponent for the Platinum Heroes, it is ArT. In the blue. Don't mind if I do. We are going to be seeing once again this dichotomy, this 2-gate on the high ground from Harstem versus this low ground gateway. And this might be the first opportunity for me to see how this potential, single gateway unit cut for the moment out of Harstem does against the 1-gate expand, if that is what we end up seeing. I'm really interested to see how these builds interact, because that's what it feels like what Harstem would be kind of building for. That's what it feels like this build is kind of crafted to deal with a little bit.
Yeah, almost like, to make an analogy about another matchup, I guess it's a similar idea to, say, Reaper Expand versus the Barracks Double Gas Factory idea, where, yeah, your Nexus will be a little bit slower if you do go for the double gate here into that kind of gateway unit, still get the Nexus at a decent time, but it gives you it probably is a little bit more well-rounded. It gives you more defense against the 1-base plays. It's still greedy enough against the 2-base plays. So it is, in my mind, as you talk about this more, it's interesting to see other matchups kind of see that meta evolution in the same way that TVT saw about a year ago.
Yeah, I would say in TVT it's a lot more like, players, because if you go 1 Rax Expand and you go against a Proxy 2 Rax Reaper, which is so much more common than, let's say, Proxy 2-gate or a Cannon Rush or some kind of super committed all-in, because obviously you can't fly Protoss buildings, then you're just dead. But in a matchup where you can see where your opponent's structures are a lot more easily, and, well, they are where they are, and that information is a lot more relevant, it's a little bit more difficult to punish a 1-gate expand. To that point, we are going to see Harstem going for the delayed gateway unit, and his Nexus, it's almost as fast as ArT's. Yeah, I think this build works out very well against what his opponent is doing. Ooh, Proxy Pylon here from ArT. This feels like this does have, I think this is going to be a gateway even, actually. Yeah, it is. Wow.
Huh.
So this is a fake Nexus from ArT, basically. Hang on, does he doesn't cancel the Nexus, right? There's no way.
I highly doubt it.
Oh, okay. Well, it's scouted.
I'm so disappointed. We've had 2 really cool builds, 2 interesting takes on established meta. We had Night Phoenix versus Gung Fu Bandit game 1. We have this game here, and then the defensive player just scouts it immediately. It's like we can't see what this build is supposed to do, because it gets scouted. And you're like, okay, well, I guess. I imagine ArT's not going to commit to this as hard as he otherwise would. There we go. The gateway gets canceled. But I don't know. I would have liked to see this. 3-gate, or I guess that was even the 2nd gate. Gateway aggression off of a single gate expand is interesting to me. We don't get...
Yeah.
Harstem, why'd you have to scout it? Just ruining my fun here.
Yeah, and to that point, actually, Harstem basically won the game versus Gung Fu Banda on this map. And funnily enough, it was like 9 Stalkers to 3, and it looked like he was just going to kill his opponent. Double Adept will get denied. Good job from Harstem. It looked like he was just going to kill his opponent, and then it was actually a Dark Shrine coming out from Gung Fu Banda that pushed Harstem back when it was literally 9 Stalkers to 1 at the very end, and Harstem just disengaged. Was a little bit too careful. But funny how it's kind of, the script is flipped a little bit, and we see how the 2 players have, made different decisions in this setup. Harstem a little bit better with the scouting than Gung Fu Banda was, but it is going to be ArT who gets the robo up in time to deal with these TTs, most likely, as long as he doesn't really botch the defense.
So Steadfast, what you're telling me, and one of the things that people say when something happens and it has existed in media before it happened in real life, is that life imitates art. That's all I got. That's the extent of it. But actually, interestingly enough, Harstem, he has his DTs on the way, but ArT also has this idea of Dark Templar. Now, it will be a little slower. And actually, do we have an observer on the map? ArT has a robo, but he is... Oh, Steadfast, he is massively supply blocked. He's got a Robo on the way.
No.
DT in the natural. Just kill the pylon.
Well, you don't even have to kill the pylon. You can just go for probes right now. He is going to be able to get a lot of these workers. ArT does see the blur, but Harstem always goes for the macro play. Will kill off quite a few probes, and this is already worth it. Meanwhile, in the natural expansion, the DT gets in here, is going to find probes as well. This is going so well for Harstem, and he's got his own Robo done on the other side of the map, and his observer's already out. Oh, this is big trouble for ArT right here.
Even better, Harstem scouted that there was a Dark Shrine on the map. Is the Dark Templar playing Ring Around the Rosie. Unfortunately, it does fall down. Harstem could have gotten more there. I don't know if you were watching in the main base, but he really was not shift-clicking probes. He clicked a couple, and then it aggroed onto the Stalker, and it took a couple swipes on Stalkers before the probes were properly pulled away. So, unfortunately, Harstem, he got, what was that? He killed 7 probes. He could have gotten a lot more. And even still, it's a great position for the captain. He's up at 9 workers, his third base on the way. He's going to find these adepts on the right side, battening the hatches down like a hurricane is coming. But I don't know that ArT is going to get Storm in this game.
No, in fact, it's going to be Hurricane Harstem coming on through, and he is already in a phenomenal position. Like you said, he's up probes, but he's also up a significant amount of army supply and army quality. He even was able to get one of the DTs out. Actually, the only unit he's lost in this game is the Dark Templar. That is pretty wild in this game. Now, I will say, I hope he does something to try and close the game out before he lets his opponent, you know, in this case, get up to disruptors. Because there has already been a few times where his lack of killer instinct has let opponents get back into games, and it's cost him at least one series. I don't want to see it cost him another one.
Yeah, Harstem has really been showing this penchant for losing 1 games quite a lot recently. There was the Ace match versus Solar. There was that Gunku Banda series that you were talking about. I don't know what it is, but I do agree with you. Just what's it that, you know, the thing that someone said, if your opponents do something weird, just go kill them. If you're massively, you don't need to get far ahead. Just go kill your opponent here, especially as upgrades are completing, as you do have, well, actually, it's 1 Immortal versus 1. ArT takes the positive trade there, kills the Stalker. Harstem backs up just a little bit, and there's no Warp Prism with this army just yet. Harstem has a 4th base on the way. Is the Warp Prism joining now? He is securing his late game more and more, but as Disruptors start popping out here, Steadfast, we don't have any from Harstem just yet, but he doesn't have the 1 shot. Unfortunate. Disruptor stays alive, and now Harstem does have to back up here.
He also just kind of wasted the sentry that had energy for Guardian Shield. He used it on a pretty impotent force field right there. And important to note that ArT did not fire out the Disruptor shot, so he actually has 2 shots now in the chamber. This is a little bit dangerous for Harstem. He will blink forward, and he will be able to get both of these. Should be able to target down the battery overcharge. Goes for the Immortal instead, and he even gets the Observer of his opponent. Okay, that went very well for Harstem. And now his charge is going to finish on up. He's on 6 gates. There it is. There's the Zealot Warp in. And with battery overcharge expiring, this is that moment where Harstem can pull the trigger and can prove us wrong and show us that killer instinct we were looking for.
And that was some slick mic from Harstem to knock down all of the tech of his opponent. But look at what ArT's doing here. With that Disruptor on the high ground, he wants Harstem to blink in. He's waiting for that opportunity where maybe Harstem spends too much blink on his Stalkers. And then you go bowling with that Disruptor, and then maybe you reset the army count. But Harstem is too canny for this one. He has another set of Warpins. Sure, he's got a lot of Zealots and a lot of Stalkers, but the Warp Prism already rotating on over around the base back into the main from the other side. So that's when Harstem is really going to look to pull the trigger, when he has Warpins in 2 spots on the map, when he has pressure in ArT's main base and pressure on the 3rd. That makes it so hard, especially as the Disruptor player, as this Blink Stalker player, to make sure you're microing both sides appropriately. But it looks like for right now, Harstem's got a 4th base on the way on the north side, and I believe Harstem saw that with the Warp Prism. Not totally sure why he's oh no, he's just taking an even more circuitous route that will be, of course, scouted by the Zelnaga. He's trying so hard to not have this thing get scattered out, but it's getting scattered regardless. Yeah.
Oh, no, there's 4 DTs in there. He is going to drop out 3 of them, but However, he is going to trap these units on at the top side. ArT is actually just going to need to recall. He can't save all of these. He will save probably as many as he could have. Harstem, a little bit of missed micro right there. Could have killed at least one more, maybe two more Stalkers. Ooh, big blink forward in on top of the Immortal. Does get the kill. Harstem hesitating on what to target fire. Switching between the Nexus and the army. He is actually going to get defended here when once again it feels like he has a big opportunity, but oh my god, he blinks forward, blocks his own Zealots out from the left. The Zealots on the right though are going to come in for the flank, and he will still force ArT back and will take the game and the series. The Flying Dutchman flies again.